Welcome. If you haven't joined the Instinctive Actors Society yet, join it. I've put a link in the comments. And today's topic is going to be about whether you're capable or not to reach deep emotion of sadness take after take. And that often is needed in the industry. And so I know that a lot of actors are dealing with that difficulty or that fear. A lot of actors are actually, when they start working with me, they're very afraid of that. And they have it that they cannot reach sadness take after take, or that they usually push it. And you might be experiencing this, or you might feel like you really need to push and fake sadness. And then when you need it in multiple takes, it makes it even more scarier. And the scarier you are, the scarier you're attached to the result and to the obligation of having to cry. And therefore, you're not in the present moment anymore. And therefore, you can't reach your sadness. So a lot of people say that, doing 1 or 2 takes sad is okay, but very quickly they feel it empties itself out and they cannot do multiple takes, or that it's really hard work to get those tears. It's a lot of forcing, a lot of pushing, a lot of preparation, and shooting conditions or audition conditions don't necessarily allow that space for you to get to that deep sadness. And so at the end of the day, when it's time to shoot and they say action, the tears are not there. So you'll have a tendency to push and force and fake. And of course, sometimes, people will get away with it. And for some reason, you'll see some actors sometimes, even in shows, that are obviously using tricks because they're crying, but you don't feel anything and there's no tears coming. So it's fake crying. And if that's okay for you, that's okay for you. But if you're actually wanting to experience acting as a free experience and as an authentic experience, finding a trick for crying is really not going to give you the satisfaction of experiencing the sadness take after take, the authenticity and the depth of that. So the reason that I would like for us to discuss today of why it's so difficult to do sad takes, take after take, is because it's actually wrong in our society, in our culture, to cry. Being sad is not a good thing. Crying is not a good thing. It's actually not okay. So let's look at what I mean by that. Well, when you come to this world and you're a newborn, you will express some of your sensation with crying. And the automated generation through generation reaction to those tears will be, don't cry. Quite simply, or stop crying, you're okay. So there's a whole negation about the desire and need to cry. It's not seen as something that is necessary or that is good or worth anything to anyone. So any parent that you will see that has a child that is sad or crying, the first thing you'll hear them say is stop crying. And I'm not trying to make parents evil. It's just something that is passed generation after generation. And therefore, when you're a parent and your child is crying, it makes you feel so uncomfortable because you have no access to your sadness. You think it's wrong. You think it's not good. You're afraid of it. And so you're going to try and fix your child's sadness because you can't stand it. You can't hold the space for that. You need to fix it straight away. So if you're the baby in that moment and you are experiencing, I don't know, cold, hunger, pain somewhere, and as soon as you express the sadness with your tears, what you're hearing, the narrative that you're hearing and the formatting that you're hearing is don't cry, with a big smile sometimes, or some tension in the parent. Well, you know, that in a repeated way over and over and over again, well, it's telling you that it's not okay to cry. So what I also hear a lot of parents do is the baby is crying or the child is crying, and they'll say, "You're okay, you're okay." And the child is specifically saying, "I'm not okay, I'm sad and I'm crying." And they keep repeating, "You're okay." So there's again a negation of what you're feeling. I remember witnessing a scene at the beach where there was a family going back to the parking, and they had a surfboard, and I can't remember, the brother turned around with the surfboard, and the fin of the surfboard hit the girl. She was probably, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years old, hit her in the lip, and she started bleeding and crying straight away, and she was afraid of what had just happened to her. And immediately the parents turned around and wanted to kind of just stop the drama of it right away, because they were, I'm guessing, afraid of what she was feeling, afraid that she would be hurt, afraid that she would be sad. So they weren't enabling any space for her to be sad and fearful and crying. So they were just like, "No, you're fine, stop crying, you're good, you're good, you're good." So there was no way for this young person to experience what she was experiencing. And so this is probably something that you have been through in your childhood or since your childhood, whether you've been experiencing sadness or pain, or whether you've even been a little bit older maybe, and you've heard things like, "Only babies cry," or "Don't cry like a baby," or "You're just a baby," or "You're bigger now," meaning when you're bigger and more grown up, you're not supposed to cry. So there's really something wrong about crying. That's the formatting, that's the conditioning, that's the wiring that you have received. Sadness is wrong. It might be dangerous. It should be stopped. There is never any space for it. So what would have worked is for you to feel sad and for someone to put their arms around you and just to go, "Wow, you're really sad," and to let you experience the fullness of that sensation so that you could get to the bottom of it, right? But in our culture, we don't allow that. We don't allow you to get to the bottom of it. So as soon as you experience sadness, everyone around you at school, your parents, the culture, everyone will just stop you from crying. Stop your sadness right there, because everyone's afraid of it. So inevitably, when you're an actor and there is a need for you to cry as a character in a scene, well, that wiring shows up, and you're not supposed to. You've never been allowed to fully be in your sadness and to just, you know, swim in it, be with it, experience it. It's never been allowed unless you've been extremely lucky and you grew up with parents that had an understanding of this or some empathy for this, and in a school system that had some empathy for this. So, but that's very, very, very rare. So most of us, I would say 99.9% of us, no matter where you're from, is like a general culture thing. Sadness is not good. So if you haven't been able to comfortably be with sadness, how can you possibly be in touch with it for a character take after take, right? You can't be with it for yourself. So how are you going to be fully with it for your character, for someone who is not even you? Are you seeing how the disconnection from your own sadness will not enable you to just dive in deep into the oceans of sadness that we all have inside of us? Because the experience of being human is tragic and phenomenal at the same time, because of the duality of being alive but knowing that you're going to die and lose everyone you love, because of everything horrible that's happening into this world, and also magical. There's kilometers and centuries of sadness for us to tap into as artists if we have access to that. So what I'm inviting you to do to reset your connection to your own sadness so that you can serve it for your characters is really to start doing this work where you're not forcing the sadness, but you're just allowing yourself to really be human, right? Because sadness is beautiful. Sadness is cleansing. Sadness is human. Sadness connects us. It's relatable. So it's truthful. If you start doing the work of undoing the formatting and the conditioning and the patterning and all the authority that's been put inside of you so that you would be like others want you to be, and if you can start reconnecting with your true and deep self, you will have limitless access to your sadness, because it won't be a forbidden thing anymore. It will be something that you can be with and allow inside of yourself. Just send me your questions if you have any. If you're dealing with a specific situation, if you want to start doing this work, I'll put a link to the wait list of the Reset Journey from Resistance to Freedom, where we undo all the formatting and the conditioning, and we muscle up your instinct back up so you can feel free and feel all of the human, delicious emotions. Bye, guys.